Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Leadnap Gaming. Today we're going to be in DCS and we're going to be taking the Viggen out for a little anti-ship mission. In our little scenario here, the IGRC's gone ahead and purchased the guided missile cruiser Moscow and it's transiting to Bandar Abbas. So this is kind of a sort of snap mission sort of a thing, not a long-term planned strike. That doesn't mean we haven't done some mission planning. As you can see here, kind of gonna get rolling here. I'm not gonna go over the startup procedures. I'll talk a little bit about the RB04 Echo and RB15 Fox, kind of when we're actually in flight and some other things I'm doing with my flight. But with that said, let's get going here.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
Also going to apologize to you guys. I don't have this
Copy.
on the solid state just yet, so there are going to be a couple
Ground power is now on.
tricky moments. I also don't have the IR set up right now, so enjoy kind of ghetto mouse movement. Would be nice if there was a little more ambient light here to kind of run this all from, but that's all right. I can do this. Come on. Big one. Whatever. There y'all are. Alright. Data cartridge in, even though the computer already came up. So normally I actually do this with my canopy open. But just for volume reasons, it probably helps if I put the fuel nozzles on. Now I get ambient light though from the ground. A couple things I need to still fix on the model, but that's alright. It is early access. Get our cartridge loaded here. So waypoint 4 is our target waypoint. I know that coming in from the mission briefing. That actually is in the briefing there for you as well. Alright. So, with that said, real quick, let's see, waypoint 1, good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all good. The headings are all corresponding correctly. You can see I have my BX points in here. Let's no BX4. 6. Good. 8. So you can see I do have a BX8 put in. Well, we can talk a little more about that here in a little bit. But for right now, let's just get back to our... We're just going to go ahead and flick that to C now, just because it doesn't really matter. But on the road it will. Get our gear lights on. Alright. So, we'll talk about that in a moment. I'll talk about all that once we get flying here, actually. So, without much further ado, let's go Go ahead and get unconnected.
Chief, turn off the ground power.
So I'm not actually sure that that matters that you
Copy.
do that, but the one time I didn't do it, I damaged my landing gear going out to the
Ground power is now off.
to take off. So maybe it does. All right, and we are ready to roll. Got our 2 clicks for power. We get going. So, as we kind of taxi out here, some things about the Viggen for people that are newer to it.
5-1. Clear to taxi to runway 27.
Viggen is not like other aircraft. A lot of other aircraft in DCS are not like a lot of other aircraft. I'm going to compare it to the A-10, or the Harrier, or even this U-27. You take those, you've got multiple weapon types, a lot of kind of controls, and a lot you do at the point impact. So normally, you want to stop, make sure the runway is clear and stuff, but we're actually trying to get out of here pretty quickly. So we're actually just going to kind of do a rolling takeoff here. Afterburner 2, start accelerating out. She already wants to jump up. 250, 270, 300. We're going to ease ourselves up off the ground here. Here. Alright, so like I was saying before with the Viggen, a kind of key and notable difference for her against other types of aircraft. It's generally, and I didn't do it because we're going to talk about it more, but you really set everything up before you go. Really, once you fly, you're generally speaking in autopilot. And speaking of autopilot, it helps if I arm my ejection seat, just in case. We are going up against a warship that does have SAMs that do reach out. I cannot fire my missiles without being in the range of their SAMs, which we'll talk about again here shortly. So, as we navigate out, let's drop back to military power here. So, my first waypoint is actually a navigational check waypoint. Also, we're going to go ahead and make ourselves stealthy. You can't see us now, can you? Just going to follow my... We'll talk about this too in a moment. But anyways, so the weapons, you generally, especially for a mission like this one, we're going to set everything more on the ground. And we'll come back to that because we have a lot of time between waypoint 3, which is our lineup, and waypoint 4, which is our actual target. So let's talk about navigation. So as we approach this point, you're going to notice I'm aiming slightly left of it. And my reason for that is because as we approach it, you're going to notice we're drifting further left. Our heading hasn't changed. As we get closer and closer and closer to the waypoint, the navigational system directs us to a specific point. And right here, by coming left of it, I never adjust in the wrong direction. And this is a pretty dramatic turn here. actually even take this turn a little slow, but I want to kind of talk about stuff. So with this one, what I'll do is when we get closer, I'll approach it on the right side, even though we're going to turn right again. We actually are a little higher than I want to be as well, so we're going to kind of set our attitude. I love just flying the Viggen, kind of just running its autopilot as my kind of checks and holds. It's a very easy aircraft to fly, and it's important that you are able to fly it like this because you do, like right now, if I needed to put in data from my weapons, I could do it. I wouldn't want to do it aiming down. See, we are losing altitude. My rationale for this is we're not even near the radar range for the Moscow, which is out there. You see the sun's just starting to kind of poke up. But yeah, so we got a little bit of time before I got to turn again here. You'll notice my radar's off, and we're going to talk about that again here in a moment. Actually, let's go ahead and turn that on. A little time to tinker. Give ourselves a little more contrast. Alright. Anyways, as we approach, notice again I'm veering right of my waypoint. And the reason for that is this is the opposite of what we would want to do, and this is what I've learned. If you're not dead on your points, newer Viggen pilots, and this used to screw me up pretty badly. You'll notice that as we get closer and closer, we appear again to veer more and more right. We're not actually veering right. Our course hasn't changed. Our heading hasn't changed. But our relative bearing to the target is more over, and the navigation system wants to point us at the specific waypoint itself. The Viggen is awesome because the manual ability to just change these is fantastic. But you'll see here as we approach 3, which we saw is further to our right. Notice right now, I would think I need to be turning left to hit that. So if I start veering left, I'm going to be turning in the wrong. I'm going to have the wrong attitude. And you notice my dials, everything swings out wide because it freaks out, and then it goes to the correct one. So if you approach it the opposite side, it never swings the wrong way, and you always turn gracefully into the next. Alright, so like I said, waypoint 3 is our lineup waypoint, and from waypoint 3 forward, we move actually into our engagement area. And we got some Swedish miles here to go. I'm going to bring us down a touch. Just because I want to be low. Alright, so this is a good time to talk about the radar. So right now we're emitting energy, we're picking things up. World is a vampire. Alright, but we actually want to sit in passive. So, this mission is great. It's part of my tutorial campaign. This one's just starting to come up. But this is mostly an instrument flight, right? We can't see anything out there. There's nothing really to look at. So we don't mind being kind of fixed down here. And we're getting radar returns off of things. I'm not sure if some of this is a glitch. Or these are bounces of other radar signals that we're getting readings back from. Theoretically, we should get bounce ground radars, other aircraft, anything like that. Their waves are still going to bounce off and hit our receiver. But if by by being in passive mode, we're not emitting anything right now. So let's consider a couple things. One, we have target waypoints locked into our system. Bear with me here. And let's talk about our firing solution here. So we're going to attack there. We're actually going to drop down to standard. There's 5 different targeting modes for the anti-ship missiles on the Viggen. Standard mode is all zeros if you are punching it in yourself, is 1 target in a large search area. So what that means is the missile's going to take a large, as I talk, pay attention here, we're just under 10 kilometers. Now watch what happens with my HUD, right? If I say, oh, I'm coming off course, and I start veering towards the course, because I want to check my drift or something like that, I don't have to worry that at any point it's going to swing me right. We know our ship is moving, but we have a general idea of where it is. Our launch point is within 70 kilometers of the coastline, which means I know I have to be close enough to the ship and its projected position. So see my navigation, just slews right on, puts me right on target. It's gorgeous. If I'm emitting radar, it means I'm showing up on their scopes, right? An easy rule to remember for radar is you emit twice the distance that you receive. So I can only see 120 kilometers, but my radar waves are going much further out than that. We got plenty of time to talk now. So I know he's out there, somewhere ahead of us. I have target waypoints put in for roughly where he should be in a certain distance. So my seeker head is looking for a ship in the middle of the ocean. I don't need to find it. I don't need to paint it, right? My anti-ship missiles are not connected to my radar currently. They are technically. But for all intensive purposes, it doesn't matter that my radar is in passive right now. Standard mode, by keeping it in standard, by flicking this switch, I tell it I want it to be at 1 target in a large search area. If I put it into select, and I enter in, we could attacked 8, and then any of the other codes for different multiple target scenarios, convoys, and bearing attacks, we would leave it in the up position to select, but we're going to fire on standard anyways. I could fire them as single, and I kind of have some thoughts on that, which I'll touch on in a moment. But like I said, we're doing a mostly instrument flight. We can see more now, but we're 10 Swedish miles, so we're roughly 100 kilometers away from our launch point. So there's not a... we're not going to see the target painted or anything like that. So I'm keeping my radar off to keep myself off of the scope. We're low. We're at 200 meters above the ocean. So hopefully if we're being picked up by the ship, you know, we're making ourselves as hard a target as we possibly can be. Our IR's and the heat off of us is in the wrong direction. So let's go ahead and talk about the missiles again. So you see we're in attack. The style doesn't make any difference for this. Spread it anyways though. So to fire them in series means we're going to fire, when I pull the trigger, both. Is my HUD in the up or down? I always forget to change that. Firing them both at the same time has pros and cons. On the one side, if my missiles both miss, I'm screwed. I have no more ordnance. So I could fire one, see if it hits, and then fire the other. Likewise, when I release them together, they're pretty close together. A single SAM could get lucky and splash both of them. Launching them separately means that at least 2 SAMs have to get lucky. And that's great, fine, and dandy. But what I've figured out from some trial and error, I'm coming in low anyways, and I set a pretty far out drop point, my BX6. So yeah, let's quickly talk about the BX points. So you've got 4 generally important weapon waypoint things. So the anti-ship missiles on here are fantastic because I get the opportunity to fire. I can program them before I fire them, and I can do exactly what I'm doing here. It's dark out. I am not running active radar. I am never going to actually see the target I'm firing at. I know she's there, somewhere, near where I'm firing. I'm going to tell my missiles roughly where to go, and I'm going to let them find the target. Now, this could be a really bad idea depending on what the scenario is, because they could find a civilian cargo ship and smash it. So, real-world practicality, this isn't very best, but at the same time, even in the real-world version of this, I have a very good idea within 10-20 kilometers of where this ship is, and I've programmed the weapon accordingly. I could completely miss as a result as well. BX6 is its descent point, so if I'm firing this thing at 1,500 meters above sea level, the missiles will continue to fly at 1,500 meters above sea level until they hit waypoint BX6, which is their descent point. At that point, they drop down and head to their sea skimming altitude, which is settable, but generally speaking is a few feet off the surface of the waves. Now, you could hit a wave, which could really screw you up, but that makes them very hard to detect. And yeah, then you have your turn point, which in this application is important and is not important. If I was masking myself behind mountains and other obstacles, the turn point's important because it means that I can tell the missile to vector in a certain direction, not going towards its target, and not to turn towards the target until a certain point. The application here is I'm actually aimed slightly behind. I'm aiming myself at a last known point, the very edge, if you will, of the known space the ship can be in, which means I'm firing behind the ship. My missiles are going to be tracking away from the ship and aft, which means that when SAMs are launched, when the missiles are hypothetically further out detected, the SAMs are going to track in. When they hit their turn point, I'm doing the same thing as if I, turned. I'm changing the trajectory of the SAMs, which will hopefully occur after the SAMs have run out of fuel and can no longer adapt, and new SAMs have to be launched. And the beautiful thing on those ship launched, at least for the Moscow, is they go up and then come back down. So BX8 is the actual target's known point if you have one, and BX9 is a failed point, so if it can't find a target where to go so that it doesn't detonate against something, it shouldn't. I did program it even though we could care less. So yeah. So what I was saying before, right, about the series launch is this. I'm choosing to launch my weapons together because even though it makes the SAMs easier to get lucky, as the missiles approach the ship, they move away from each other and then close in on the target. The ship's close-in weapons are only going to track one missile. So I increase my odds of a hit by launching them together. If I launch them separately, it splashes one missile and then can splash another. See the logic? Alright, so we're 30 clicks out from our destination. What I'm going to do is actually speed up. I want to be moving fast. There's a rationale for this. We're going to come off of our altitude hold a little bit here. This is a little dangerous doing this now that we're at speed. I'm actually going to try to drop down a little more. I'm going to use the autopilot just to make sure I'm stable in doing this. Really, the last thing you want to do is fuck yourself up like that. So we're moving in. I could try to paint my target, but let's see. Not really. We're getting some ground returns. We're not finding the ship, but we don't need to, because the missiles will themselves. Veer ourselves in ever so slightly. Come back on. So we're going to launch from 160 feet, which is going to keep our missiles low as it is. When they drop, if there are SAMs that are launched, it's going to be even better. Alright, so we're going to unsafety our weapons. And missiles away. So the missiles are out. Hit the wrong button there. Now, we're going to veer hard out. And we're going to gain a little altitude, and that's okay. Like I said, we're shooting 60 to 70 kilometers out. We're roughly right at the same envelope that the missiles on the cruiser can hit. Bump over to third stage burner here as well, just to give ourselves as much speed as we can. I really don't know why my computer is so angry right now. I usually do not get this glitching. Slower stage. I don't mind about my altitude, like I said, we're near the edge of the missile range and we just navigated. So, we fired our missiles, and now I'm going to shut up because it'll be loud. So, really quickly, we can do this because I'm in altitude hold, roughly going away towards safety, which is what B5 is. It's just an indicator for me to navigate safely away. We're holding so we can watch. So there's the two missiles. You can see what I mean. They're pretty close to each other due to that launch. Fast. Come on. Crap out on me now. Oh my god. It's because I have Chrome running. I just want to make sure I'm not doing high Mach in the safe zone. Now you're going to see what I mean, right? So they're coming in, and in a moment they're going to begin their evasive maneuvers to defeat any close-in weapon systems against their targets. Assuming the computer doesn't crash. I'm sorry guys, like I said, I got Chrome running in the background, which is my bad. It's just beating up. every other time I've ever run this mission. When I tested the mission, and I had none of these problems. Here we go. Well, I don't think we got a hit. Fuck. Yeah, that sucks. Now let's go home, shall we? And we'll find out. We'll see if my new coding for this works too. Well, and there you had it. So this time, it's one of those things I do like about this game. You run the scenarios a bunch of times, and it never happens the same way. You know, you get, sometimes the SAMs get the missiles. In this case, they separated them out, and let's see. I did hit her. Win. Normally we would have seen that if my computer didn't crap out on us, but bam, there you got it. So yeah, what do you know? We damaged a cruiser. Didn't sink her though, which is part of the reason, just so you know, that even after it hits we fly a little longer, is just in case we can. I mean, it's a big cruiser, so which kind of sucks. But yeah, there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Did you like my kind of explanation as we flew on things? More, less? Let me know. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will catch you next time.